It's Wednesday in game, and you know what that means? It's time for another AEW Dynamite as we are on the road to All Out. So, welcome again to another video, and we're here for some Dynamite Collision, Rampage, and from some Shockwave as well. Card shaping up nicely. Hopefully, we can kick on from what I felt was a very good Collision. I felt like that was one I really hit my rhythm with storylines. I just need to try and get in a position where I can book a Collision, Dynamite Collision back to back. Because I feel like by the time I get to write out the storylines, I don't really get to do them back to back in one night, so I don't feel the flow is fully there yet, but hopefully we can work towards that. So, we'll jump straight into this week's Dynamite, and hopefully it leads on to a lot of stuff that happened here. Let's do it. So, we are just 11 days away from All Out, and we are in the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Probably that's not how it's spelled, but hey. We start off with some action, straight to it, with Penta versus Mox, and it was a wild brawl that had some great wrestling and a decent reaction from the audience as John Moxley defeated Penta in 14:20 by pinfall, illegally of course, using the ropes for leverage. So overall, a 74 for Penta, 88 for Mox. They had pretty good chemistry, that lifted the match. The wrestling was an 81, crowd 62, and this segment was a 76. Negatives, both guys' physical condition. Penta struggling with stamina. 14 minutes in a wild brawl, interesting. But some good stuff there, regardless, I say, for an opener. We then have some words from John Moxley. And he says, last week Wheeler Yuta was taught a lesson. He found out that if you don't keep up with the expectations of the Death Riders, then you get cut loose. Me and Claudio thought the world of Yuta and his potential, but he struggled to fulfill it. That's not a failure on our behalf, that's a failure on you, Yuta, unable to seize the opportunity that presents itself. As you can see, however, Pac went his separate ways. That's fine, we respect that. But me and Claudio are proof that the Death Riders will never die. That match there shows the Death Riders will never lose. Which lets me ask this question. Penta, you lost tonight, but how about it All Out? You bring your little brother Rey Fenix, and me and Claudio will finish the job by breaking both of you. So a 71 segment there, Moxley obviously with Claudio behind him, speaking about Pac, Penta, Rey Fenix and Wheeler Yuta. Pretty much I think you can gather here that we are setting up for Death Riders Lucha Bros at All Out. We then had some more action, this time in our women's division, and about the had subpar wrestling and Little Heat, as Megan Bayne continued her run of momentum, defeating the Bunny in 2:39 by pinfall. 50 wrestling, 46 segment, Megan Bayne 64 took on the Bunnies 35. We then had some words from Timeless Tony Storm. Impressive win, Megan Bayne. What do they call you? A Megasaurus? I don't hear you roar. It's just over 1 week's time when you challenge me for my TBS championship. I will not only slap the tits right off you, but I will also make you end up the rest of your time, your kind, extinct. It was really, really tough to do a Tony Storm promo because she is that eccentric. But a 63 segment, the storyline for the TBS Championship is advanced, and Tony's gimmick's getting a little bit stale. So that's something we'll keep an eye on in the upcoming weeks because will we need to change her from Timeless? Remains to be seen. Daniel Garcia then joins the telecast by heading to the announce booth to call the upcoming Zack Sabre Jr. match. The storyline advances there and gains heat. That is at 68. The matchup in question had some decent wrestling, but little heat as Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Matt Sydal in 7:53 with the Crematation Lily. 70 for the wrestling, a 70 segment overall because under 10 minutes. A 56 for Matt Sydal and 85 for Zack Sabre Jr. And the storyline between him and Daniel Garcia continues. We then had a decent matchup that saw Kyle O'Reilly defeat Mark Briscoe in 11:03 with the Brainbuster. This match was a steal the show matchup, but sadly only a 56 and 60 for the in-ring performances, giving us 58 for the wrestling and a 61 segment. This is going to lead to something down the line in terms of a storyline, and the Trios Belt storyline has started with this. More on that in the upcoming weeks. Some words next from Kevin Steen, but disappointed only a 78. But he says, last week Eddie Kingston decided to open up that big mouth of his and start his crap on me. It's just the usual Eddie Kingston stuff, getting involved in things that is no concern to him. So tonight, I shut him up, and my main focus goes back to ending Sammy as soon as possible. So that storyline advances and gains heat. Kevin Steen wants Sami Zayn at one point, but tonight it's Steen and Kingston. I believe that's next. And they did well. A wild brawl that had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from our audience. Kevin Steen defeats Eddie Kingston in 14:25 by pinfall after using a foreign object. So this one had a 76 for the wrestling, 80 for the segment. I think 80 is kind of limited unless it goes over 20 minutes, I believe, with our product. But the good thing about this is these two have great chemistry, and that showed in their performances, so I've got that in the future. And it means that we can probably get back to this in the future at one point, but I do want to go Steen and Sammy at the moment. Then we have confirmed for Collision, Mercedes Moné will confront Io Shirai ahead of their World Championship match. That was a 64. We then had a bout with a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Athena defeated Saraya in 7:53 with the O-Face. Storytelling matchup of the evening. Saraya with a 35. Ugh. But a 69 from Athena carried it to a 59 rated matchup. Athena then picks up the win over Saraya, and again out of nowhere it's an ambush by Priscilla Kelly, who last week took out Billy Starks. This week she takes out Athena, and she lays her completely out as she stands tall beside Saraya. So a 52 for that segment there, for the beatdown on Athena. We get ready for our main event, and we have our 88 segment. Tonight I go one-on-one with Shingo Takagi, and Shingo has battled me many a time over the years, so he knows exactly what to expect of me. But likewise for me, I know about him. But I know I have to be fully sharp for beating Okada, for battling Okada. So every win I can get matters. Every single bit of momentum I can take to All Out matters, so I can bring home the AEW World Championship. So 88 segment there, the world title storyline advances and gains heat. Main event then is Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi. 82, I will take that. And about that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Ospreay defeats Shingo Takagi in 21-12 with a Stormbreaker. 86 wrestling, 82 for the segment. I don't count crowds, I don't do crowd management. 96 for Will Ospreay, 75 for Takagi. The world title storyline has automatically advanced. So it get boosted a little bit because of the great chemistry, but at the same time it is penalised for the not enough selling being shown. So overall, an 82, that increased their popularity in 35 regions. I certainly feel we've moved a few storylines along there, which I'm happy about. You've obviously got stuff with Mox, Claudio and the Lucha Bros. You've got the TBS Championship. You've got stuff between Garcia and Zack Sabre Jr. The stuff with Eddie Kingston kicking around with Kevin Steen. You've got Sami Zayn. You've got Mercedes Moné in the World Championship. You've got Athena, Billy Starks, Saraya, Priscilla Kelly, Ospreay and Okada, and the beginning of the trio stuff with Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and others to be included. Well, anyway, that was our Dynamite. It's time to go to Saturday night. It's time for some fighting there. So we move on to Collision from the Cross Insurance Arena, and we start off with some Steal the Show action. We have about had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Rush defeats El Hijo del Vikingo in 9:33 with La Lanza. This match was designed to go out so that the wrestlers could steal the show. A 78 for the wrestling, a 51 for the crowd, and an 80 segment overall. So good stuff there. I thought those two would work well together. Yeah, you're probably capped an 80 with a 10-minute limit there. Vikingo 79, Rush with 76. Really, to be honest, just to give Rush a bit of positive momentum. We then have a promo, and it is from Christian Cage and Cope, mostly Cope doing the speaking here. So I've had over a week to think about it. Who really did take out Chris Jericho, and will they seek to target us next? And we've come to the conclusion that due to all the previous history, it's only a matter of time before MJF and co come after us. So All Out, let us take out your lackeys MJF, we'll take out Wardlow and Ricky Starks. There'll be no shit talking at All Out, where we kind of nod to Ricky there. And after that, we'll come for MJF, the man who took out Chris Jericho. So they firmly believe it was MJF, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, under the mentorship, of course, of William Regal. And that was a 78 rated segment. The Backbone storyline advances, gaining some heat. That's a good start there with the promos. Next up, I had a extremely short matchup, Kinosuke Takeshita with a squash match victory over Thomas Santel in 32 seconds with a javelin kick. Storytell matchup, he wanted to appear on the show, gave Takeshita an easy victory. 70 rated segment, Takeshita in 84 is all you really need to know. So Don Callis then speaks on behalf of Takeshita. So last week I announced Takeshita's ambitions for going forward, looking for championship gold. Well, it's time to announce who we wish to face and when we want to face them. We want to come full circle. We know most championship matches have been set up for All Out, with the exception of one. Someone who is very familiar with Takeshita, someone who has 12 defences of his championship, a champion for over 200 days. We are calling out Kenny Omega. Kenny, now normally I could just be a completely vile human being, but no. For this bout, I want the best Kenny Omega versus the best Kinosuke Takeshita, because I believe this time is Takeshita's time. So a bit of a nice promo there from Don Callis. That storyline has started, and a 74 rated segment. Yeah, I just felt like it was time to go again with Takeshita versus Omega for the Continental Championship. Next up, we had a Wild Brawl. That didn't really suit both guys' strengths here. Well, maybe it would have suited Briscoe's, but anyway, Adam Cole defeats Mark Briscoe in 12:56 with the boom. 61 for the segment. Mark Briscoe's getting a little bit stale. The trio's storyline has advanced and gained a little bit of heat there, but it's all about the aftermath. Adam Cole in a wild encounter wins over Mark Briscoe. After the matchup, Mark Briscoe is picked up by Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, and Cole seems to be mocking him, setting him up for the boom. He gets ready to run, and then the lights go out for a good minute. They then come up, and out of nowhere it's Nicholas and Matthew Jackson. Surely they're going to hit Mark Briscoe here, but no, it's super kicks to Kyle O'Reilly. It's a super kick to Roderick Strong. Adam Cole is shocked. He can't believe it as he rolls out of the ring to help his two buddies that have fallen. What have the Young Bucks done? So the trio storyline has advanced and gained heat. The angle idea was a success. The segment was a 70. And in truth, I am not going to turn them face just yet, but that. Which one will turn them face? Let's go for it. Both of them have been jaded then. That's a shame, but aye. So I think you can see where we're going with this kind of feud down the line. 7 rated segment anyway. I should have built up more. Decent matchup next. We had the Acclaimed in that 2 versus 3 matchup. They needed Hangman Adam Page. The Acclaimed defeated MJF, Ricky Starks, and Wardlow in a handicap match in 13:43 when Anthony Bowen somehow submitted Wardlow. Should have probably put a pinfall victory. During the matchup, we had Adam Page turn on MJF. So the plan was to have Hangman just interject himself into the matchup. Apparently, can't do that in handicap matches, which is a bit of a shame. Or I just never found what I was looking for. But the point turns, Hangman aligns himself with the Acclaimed for this instance. The storyline advances, it does gain heat, which is good. The segment only draws a 66, which is fine. Hangman has been building up for 11 segments, so his change to being babyface was a complete success, thankfully. I have had that one in the pipeline for a little bit. Then have some words from Hangman backstage. MJF, like many in AEW, I am sick and I am tired of your shit. You've caused issues for so many people in this company, but I am one issue that you just can't handle. Grow a set of balls and bring your ass to All Out. So the storyline advances, it gains heat, effectively setting up for Adam Page, MJF at All Out 69. We then hear from Mercedes Moné ahead of tonight's tag team match. It's going to be Mercedes Moné and Megan Bayne against Toni Storm and Io Shirai. Mercedes says, Io, now you get very lucky when you defeated me at the Bola, but that was a freak result. And that won't happen again. It's time I show you that you have a price to pay when you mess with Mercedes Moné, and the boss tonight and next Sunday will show you just how great I am. At All Out, I will stand here still, AEW Women's World Champion. 79 for that segment. And their matchup was decent. And the team of Mercedes Moné and Megan Bayne defeated Io Shirai and Toni Storm in 18:29 when Megan Bayne pinned Toni Storm. In terms of in-ring work, Io Shirai was head and shoulders above the rest, and Megan was the weak link. She was really off her game though, so that hampered her to a 57 performance. Frightening though, Io Shirai is up at an 89, which is scary. Matchup itself done alright at 74, a bit of a variety in terms of their ring performances. I'd like to get a bit more out of Mercedes, but the main thing is their storyline in the battle for the TBS Championship have both advanced and both have gained heat. So really working well with that. We then cut backstage to Sami Zayn. So it seems to me that despite everything that's happened, Kevin Steen still has his sights set on me. I mean, it's the same old Kevin, can't let bygones be bygones and can't move on with life. He always has to come back to me. So that's it. Sure, Kevin, next Sunday I'll face you. But this will be the last time we battle in AEW for a long, long time. So just really get these two, get the match up, over and done with, and let them go on their separate ways. 75 for the segment, storyline advances, gains heat. Sami benefits from having a hot catchphrase. And our main event for tonight was about to have some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd as Walter defeats Hechicero in 1936 with a lariat. This gives him the 7th defence of the International Championship. We have the successful creative finish, an 87 for Walter, a 71 for Hechicero, and an 81 segment overall. So hopefully we could be in the ballpark of about an 80 rated score, which would mean no really any pop gain, but most importantly no loss. But what does our main segment have? It delivers an 84, and it's some words from Walter to start with. So this is what you want, Brian. You want these matches against these international talents with my international championship, so you can take in all the historic venues that our great sport graces. I'm someone who values this sport, its history, and those who have done great things for it. I know you haven't disrespected this sport, and you're one of the reasons why we have a company like this, with the values that it has. Also, whilst back in Europe, I was aware of Ring of Honor, and the legend, of course, it is the American Dragon. So All Out, I accept. Walter versus Bryan Danielson, International Championship. To end the segment, Bryan comes out to the top of the ramp and he leads a yes chant to the crowd. So Walter obviously a babyface here, so we have babyface be babyface scenario, but it means he's not going to be an arsehole basically, so that's why it's kind of like a respectful promo. Storyline advances, and the segment overall was an 84, but yeah, Danielson Walter International Championship should be a banger. Okay, we lost popularity in 26 regions. The general feeling is we don't have enough storylines that are rated hot or above, which is a shame because I felt like we actually moved a lot of storylines forward, but obviously not enough of them have got enough heat. That's frustrating. That is quite frustrating because I thought that was going to be a show that would get them in a good place and we wouldn't lose pop. So yeah, because I mean the show looks good across the board. It's all pretty much into the the whole show ranges from 61 to 84, and really that's just a weak Adam Cole Mark Briscoe match. But I think in terms of what we're building towards All Out, I think it was a good show in that regard. And yeah, I've got to make sure that we have 3 storylines with good heat going into All Out next week. So that's the pressure on me for the upcoming shows. So we'll finish that there. Any locker room incidents? Anna Jay and Hologram have been run particularly well. Both of them have a professional personality, and that's going to be it. So we'll jump back to the main screen and let's check out what happened on Shockwave and, of course, Rampage. So let's see what changes have happened after that episode of Shockwave. We'll get Kana back from her injury. Fans seem to have enjoyed that show of Shockwave, so I'm looking forward to covering that. I felt it went quite well. 6,000 fans at that taping. Obviously alongside Collision, First Class, or minus Casey Navarro. I don't actually think there's that much there that directly affects us. New champion in CMLL. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that directly affects us. Check our news. Brindley Pierce extends their deal with WWE. Gail Kim extends their deal with TNA. That's awkward. Lance Archer has been hired by Noah. Shelton Benjamin back from injury. Thank God we can start utilising the Hot Syndicate again. Kind of put them in the back burner because of that. Collision at 1.24 TV rating, and 2.7 million people watched Shockwave. And yeah, Dustin Rhodes says he likes what he hears from Camille, who I can't remember the last time I utilised her. So we'll do the quick rundown. I've always said as well, by the way, just 7 days away from All Out, so I need these next 2 shows to be absolutely perfect. So Rampage, we had Keith Lee defeat Evil Uno in a 60 rated matchup with some words from Keith Lee, which was a 70. Masha Slamovich defeated Riho in a 68. We had some words from Carly Cameron. That is a lovely one, that. Harley Cameron. That was a 53. as she lost to Billy Starks, which was a 59. Anna Jay with the promo was a 51. And our main event was a fatal 4-way action, as we had Nick Wayne defeat Action Andretti, Michael Loku, and Matt Taven in a 64 rated matchup. So, Shockwave, what did you bring us? Well, we had Anna Jay defeat Danny Luna in the opening contest, which was a 54. We had some words from Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, speaking over what happened between them, the Young Bucks, and Mark Briscoe. That was a 62. Queen Aminata defeated Alex Windsor in a 65. Nixon No and the Money Corporation, Bailey and Sky Blue, defeated the team of Maxi Impaler, Mercedes Martinez, and Rio Mizunami in a 62. We had an excellent matchup that saw Buddy Matthews defeat Blake Christian in a 75. And then we had Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, the Trios champions, saying they're noticing the landscape here in AEW. It might be time for them to make an appearance this week, upcoming week, whether that's Dynamite or Collision remains to be seen. That was a 62. Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Scorpio Sky, that was a 68. The words we had then from Bailey, Nixon, and Sky on their victory earlier on was a 63. We had some words from Jack Perry before the main event, which was a 54. And that main event saw Jack Perry defeat Bandido in an 80 rated segment. So I'm really utilising Rampage as like kind of just getting people on the show, and Shockwave is kind of like I should be using them, but I don't have the time to use them, and I have to get positive momentum is kind of what we're looking for here. So yeah, overall I would say it's a decent show. A 75 is always a decent one there. But there you have it. We are a week away from All Out, and hopefully you'll join us in the upcoming week for the last Dynamite and Collision before that, and then a big pay-per-view, which will be a few days after that. So hopefully we get the positive momentum in the storylines. I'll probably use a lot of storyline angles if I can to get some heat into them. I know some of them it's kind of if you have them for 30 days, which a lot might have only just been recently started up. But yeah, just watching, much appreciated. A wee thumbs up, let me know how your own saves are getting on, and as always check out the Fantasy Booker subreddit, the Grey Dog Software Forums, twdb.com and bethebooker.net. And of course, there's a hell of a lot of new mods that are popping up, and yeah, I've been sinking my teeth into a few of them. The wee look at the 1998 one, it's so many of them are so good. Like the commitment for the guys to put the time and effort in the first place is deeply appreciated, so give your support to them as well. But anyway, take it easy, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.